This is a bizarre story woven from lies, desire, and redemption. Every gambler sits down wanting a comeback, but the real gamble is never the chips, it's human nature. Dole is a British aristocrat who showed up in Macau a few weeks ago with £957,000, and now all of it is gone. Every night, he puts on his lucky gloves and steps outside to start his wild gambling life. He carefully peeks outside the door and only opens it once he makes sure no one is there because he borrowed a loan from this hotel and now he can't pay it back. He avoids the elevator and slips into the fire escape and then forces himself to walk straight through the main lobby. But even so, the hotel manager spots him immediately. At this point, with the original loan plus accumulated interest, Dole now owes 353,000 Hong Kong dollars. Dole calmly tells the manager this is nothing, but today is Saturday. London banks don't work weekends, and Monday is a bank holiday, so they won't release any funds until Tuesday. The manager tells him he must pay it back on Tuesday, or they'll call the police. Leaving the office, a tense Dole finally exhales. He then goes to a big baccarat casino and wants to make a comeback. The rules of baccarat are simple. Each person gets 2 hidden cards. Cards 1 to 9 count as points, 10, and face cards count as 0. Highest score is 9, lowest is 1, and whoever has the higher total wins. Dole notices an old lady who's been on banker non-stop, so he assumes her lucky streak is about to end. He sits down and orders a glass of crystal champagne. Suddenly, a woman named Dominic shows up from behind him. She's a broker working for this casino. Her job is to find gamblers with deep pockets and offer them loans once they start losing. She warns him to be careful because rumor says this old lady is insanely rich and impossibly lucky. Dole still believes his judgment, and in just a few quick rounds, he loses every chip he has. Dominic walks over and tells him she can immediately lend him $20,000 with 15% interest plus fees. His eyes light up, and he asks if he can get a much larger line. Dominic tells him to first settle his drink bill, then they'll talk loans. Realizing he's been read like a book, Dole pretends to be calm, tells her to order another champagne, and says he'll go to the bathroom and be right back. Then he swaggeringly walks out of the casino. The next morning, Dole wakes up inside the presidential suite of the hotel, with the TV playing Macau news saying today is the first day of Ghost Month, where people burn offerings for dead souls to comfort their loved ones. Dole doesn't care about any of that. He only wants to know what to do next. At dusk, Dole sees a body falling from the rooftop. Someone jumps. He rushes down and sees the gruesome scene. A woman runs up and slaps Dominic in rage, blaming her for lending money to her husband, which caused him to jump off the building and die. While the police are distracted trying to calm the woman down, Dominic runs away. Since Dole still hasn't gotten money, he follows Dominic to where she lives. She lives in a rundown neighborhood. Obviously, her own life isn't good either. The borrower jumped to death, which means the debt falls back on her. Dole wants Dominic to help him get more loans. He believes since he's been losing non-stop, his big luck is coming. If Dominic helps him, he'll split the winnings with her 50-50. She doesn't reply. They unknowingly walk to the beach. Dominic looks at a giant ghost statue near a temple and casually mentions that a week later is Ghost Festival, when people burn offerings for the dead. Dole doesn't care. He just wants her to lend him money. Dominic is calm, like she's falling asleep listening to his fantasies. The next morning, Dole wakes up and Dominic is gone. He brushes sand off his clothes and a strange string of numbers appears on his palm. Maybe Dominic left this on purpose. He doesn't think too hard and leaves. Back at the hotel, he looks at the numbers again. It's not a phone number, but what do they mean? He puts on a red suit and heads out. He must find Dominic again. When the elevator doors are closing, a curly-haired woman rushes in. She looks crazy and films herself on her phone inside the elevator and even films Dole. Feeling uneasy, Dole exits early because he doesn't want anyone filming him. He has another identity to protect. After chasing her, he corners her in a bathroom. Her name is Betty. She refuses to delete the selfie. Dole says if she won't delete it, then she must pay him $500. She laughs and calls him broke, then calls him Mr. Riley. Turns out Dole is not his real name, and his aristocrat title is fake too. He works at an asset management firm in the UK. He secretly diverted 2 clients' pension funds totaling £957,000. Betty is a private investigator hired to retrieve that money. If he doesn't return it within 24 hours, she'll have him extradited through local police. Suddenly, Dole remembers the jump scene. Fear creeps into him. If he wants to live, he must find Dominic. At night, he rushes to Dominic's place, but it's empty. There's a postcard hidden under the door, with an address in Hong Kong, Llama Island. Dole then goes to find a friend named Peter to collect 8,000 Hong Kong dollars he previously lent him, then leave Macau for Hong Kong. Peter only gives him 2,000 Hong Kong dollars. Then Peter takes him to dinner and mentions the name Riley, which means he betrayed Dole. He leaves Dole with the bill. Dole pays with the only 2,000 Hong Kong dollars left. That midnight, Dole uses 100 Hong Kong dollars to take a boat to Llama Island. He thinks about the meaning of life. Is it just wasting money and rotting in pleasure? Again, the jump scene flashes in his mind. Maybe only Dominic can save him now. When he arrives, he goes to a buffet and eats like crazy because he has nothing left. After stuffing himself, he tries to dine and dash, but security blocks shocks him. A waiter walks over and asks for payment. Dole pretends to grab his wallet but has nothing. Suddenly, his vision becomes blurry and Dominic appears in front of him. He clings to that image like a lifeline, but then something unexpected happens. He wakes up much later on a floating fish farm in Llama Island. He collapsed because of his severe heart condition. He realizes this is Dominic's family home. Everything is simple, humble, and full of life. She makes him ginseng soup, and for the first time, he feels warmth of a real home. At night, they lay in bed smoking, opening up about their pasts. Dominic says girls in her village were considered cursed, so she left home, but outside was even colder and more cruel, full of deceit and rot. She mentions how a few days later is Ghost Festival. She says gamblers who die will fall into the ghost path, where ghosts with huge mouths can swallow oceans and never be full. Dominic then tells Dole, "You still have a way out." The next morning, she disappears again. Wanting to repay her kindness, he cooks lunch. Hours pass, and she still doesn't return. He spots a small shack on the other side with a combination lock. Remembering the numbers on his palm, he tries them, and it opens. Inside is just a few square meters, a place used to store fishing nets. He opens the floorboard and decides to pull up the net. He is shocked. Inside the net are 2 bags of cash, 2 million Hong Kong dollars. This is everything he ever dreamed of. After a brief hesitation, greed fully takes over. He dumps the money on a table, packs it into a backpack, leaves no note, and walks away from Llama Island back to Macau. He doesn't go back to the hotel. He goes straight to the casino. He wants to win back everything: money, dignity, honor. And shockingly, everything goes exactly like he imagined. His luck returns. He wins every single round, even hits perfect 9-7 times in a row. Within hours, he turns 2 million Hong Kong dollars into 8 million Hong Kong dollars. Then he checks into a 5-star hotel without worrying about debt collectors. The casino calls him in later, saying hitting 7 nines in a row is basically impossible. Security footage shows a shadow behind him. They say he's possessed by a ghost. Ghost possession stories like this have happened before, so the casino bans him permanently. Back in the hotel, Dole orders tons of food, but no matter how much he eats, he's still hungry. Then, while puking, he sees his reflection with a terrifying giant mouth. Breaking down, he calls the casino again and says he wants one last all-or-nothing game. Win or lose, he'll leave Macau forever. The casino accepts. That night, he shows up with 8 million Hong Kong dollars. If he loses, he'll jump. If he wins, he'll pay his debts. His opponent is Peter, now claiming he's Prince Lorenzo of Monte Carlo. Maybe he really is, or maybe he just fooled Dole. Either way, it doesn't matter. Dole pushes all 8 million Hong Kong dollars forward. Cards are dealt. Dole gets a 2 and a 9. Anything above 10 gets subtracted by 10, and he gets a third card. He only has 1 point. Peter has 7, so Dole must draw a 7 or 8 to win. The tension is insane. He flips the card, it's an 8. That gives him 9 points. He wins. His 8 million Hong Kong dollars instantly becomes 16 million Hong Kong dollars. Will he actually keep his promise now? A few hours later, he does. He converts the money to match 957,000 pounds and gives it to Betty. She can't believe it. Later, Dole brings 2 boxes of money to Dominic's casino, but the old lady is the one waiting for him. She prepared a table just for him. She says they can play 1 to 600 odds, bet 2 boxes of money and win 12 million Hong Kong dollars. She doesn't care what it costs. She just wants him to beat her. But Dole resists the temptation and firmly says he won't gamble anymore. She is shocked. When he asks about Dominic, the old lady says Dominic jumped into the river and killed herself on the first night of Ghost Month. Her death crushes him. He finally understands the ghost on him. He rushes to Dominic's place calling her name. He refuses to believe she's dead. The upstairs room is covered in dust. He pulls out the postcard from before with Llama Island written on it. Now he realizes everything he saw was an illusion. Dominic at the buffet was never real, but his collapse from a heart attack was. Her spirit guided him to that money so he could get a second life. Outside, fireworks explode. It's the last night of Ghost Festival. People are burning offerings everywhere. Suddenly, Dole knows what he must do. He runs toward the temple with the money box. Bursting through crowds, he reaches the furnace at the final moment, and without hesitation, he throws all the remaining money into the fire. After that, he walks calmly toward the beach. His reflection in the water shows the ghost fading away. His senses return. He's finally awake. He now knows how he is going to live from here on. The movie ends. It's more like a eulogy of a broken man redeemed. When Dole set fire to all that dirty money, he wasn't just burning the rotten version of himself. He finally understood life.